Hey,
Okay, so welcome to our monthly virtual meetup. So this is our February meetup, and we're very excited about it. Join us every month. We'll be here the third Wednesday of each month at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. So we are here for February meetup, and we're very excited about it. We've been chatting a little bit, and we have a new user here. We have some members of the core team here, and we have Tom Hatch here. I'm Janae Andrus, the community manager, and of course, Tom Hatch, our creator of Salt. And we also have Chunga here. Chunga, this is your first meetup, right?
it is. It's about time, I think.
It's about
Yeah,
time.
right? Exactly.
Chunga is part of
Sure.
our team. What, Tom?
I'm the resident.
I'm just saying, Chunga's a lazy bomb. He hasn't made it out to a meetup yet.
It's okay. It's only the second one this year. We'll forgive him. He's so busy running the background.
Especially for Saltaire. But yeah, and another thing I want to, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of stuff at you here, Richard, because you're brand new. Check out the Hacks podcast, because the Hacks podcast is going to be full of information. That's a show that Tom and I do together. And if you're a brand new Salt user, that's a podcast that is A, hilarious, and B, very, very educational in terms of salt and open,
Good.
Salt Open.
Absolutely. Perfect. So we have all kinds of things going with Salt Project, right? So first of all, we have Salt Project, which is Salt, right? So it's the open source for Salt, and we have the hacks, which is very exciting. We have oh man, our open hour every week, so you can come every Thursday and join us for open hour, which is a great opportunity to connect with the core team, all the Salt engineers. And Sage or I are always there and making that happen. And now we have Salt Air. So this is our pre-launch party. We're really excited to make sure everyone knows that Salt Air is happening, is coming. And now Salt Air, there's a little history with Salt Air. So Tom, can you run us through a little bit of Salt Air history? And yes, I am 100% putting him on the spot because it's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, sure. So if we go back to the beginning of the project, um, early on, when it was me and a couple of guys, and we had just gotten funding in 2012, I wanted to. We were moving so fast that new releases of Salt were coming out every couple of weeks. The code base was much smaller. Um, and I started the series really just so that I could say, hey, this is what we did this week. So that it would be a lot of fun to be able to just come back and say, this week we added this and that and this and that and this and that. And we did it for a little while, but all the other CTO duties and madness started to consume more and more of my time. And so I didn't have enough time to prepare Salt Air episodes. And so Salt Air then died as a result. And it was just me with a webcam, which is what we're doing now anyway, so I shouldn't be critical. And so what we ended up with after that was a few years of no Salt Air episodes. And then about 3 years ago, I wanted to reboot Salt Air. And so what we did was, do you know how many of those we made, Janae? I mean, it was before your time.
We made 50,
Yeah,
56.
I was
Actually.
gonna say it was about 50 plus.
Yep.
And so I knew that I wouldn't be able to have the time to crank out one every week. And so what I did was I got a bunch of sports coats and shirts and came into the office and filmed and did a marathon film day 3 or 4 times, where I just filmed as many of them in one day as I could until I was losing my mind. Um, and so there were days where I filmed. I think my record was like 22 Salt Air episodes in a day. And between each one, I would change out my jacket and my shirt so that it didn't look like I was filming them all in one day. um, but the problem that I ran into there was that even then it was really hard for me to allocate these days. And so now we're rebooting it, and we're learning from the hacks. So the hacks podcast has been a massive amount of fun, and we've started to get a lot of listeners on the hacks, and it's been very, very encouraging. And also to see that people seem to like the more random tech banner and the comedy that Chunga and I put together. And so Janae and I decided that we'd take a swing at bringing Salt Air back again. And it's on YouTube and it's a video series instead of a podcast. So we will have to blow something up or do something YouTubey eventually. I mean, right, Janae? No?
Absolutely. No, it's great. We'll do all kinds of crazy fun things, I'm sure. It
Yeah,
might get weird. We've already talked about potentially turning it into, Tom wants to do some cooking on Salt Air. I mean, I want to hear if this is like something people want to see or not.
I think this is great. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Would you cook burgers?
Burgers.
Burgers.
Is that cooking with thermite by any chance?
Okay, so for the record, I would definitely do some thermite cooking. I love me some thermite. For those of you who are not aware of what thermite is, you take powdered rust and powdered aluminum and mix them together at the proper ratio, and then ignite it with magnesium, and then it burns at higher than the melting point of steel, and is extremely bright and is loads of fun and a great way to dispose of old hard drives, because you can melt many things. I recently took up food cooking, not just pyrotechnics. And I have been perfecting a number of recipes, some simple, some more complicated. Like I make a mean spinach lasagna. I've got a really, really good, I've got my own pancake recipe that's phenomenal. I've started to make French toast waffles.
Yeah, we discussed this, was it episode 3, I think. We discussed that.
Is there going to be a cookbook?
Right? You know what? Give it enough episodes, there's going to be a cookbook.
You know what I would like to see with the hacks is how you can take the principles and practices of Salt Open and use food to illustrate that as you cook. Like, here's what a salt pillar is. We're going to use these pieces of asparagus to illustrate what a salt pillar is.
I can like see Garrett's wheels turning.
I kind of just want a hobby.
Can we use snails?
Turn into business.
No, it's good stuff. So we're really excited about Salt Air launching and being, I mean, it was great in the past, right? But we're kind of just putting a fresh face on it. And in the way that, Salt Project is now rebranded, revamped, we are doing the same thing with Salt Air. And we want it to be really approachable, just really pithy, really applicable. There's some fun banter in there. There's some fun stuff. So we actually have the new Tumblr with Tom's face on it and all his quotes. And we show that in episode 2, actually. So that'll come out.
The show launches tomorrow, by the way. It'll post once a week to YouTube, yes. And it starts tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow, but I may have prepared a sneak peek for everyone tonight. So anyway, because we have to do that at the pre-launch party, is check it out. So
well, that's true.
Right?
You're going to subject everyone to a preview.
It's true. Yes, we're going to watch it together. So everyone go make some popcorn. Come back. It'd be great. And yeah, so we'll do that in a few minutes, actually. But what's fun is, as we were talking about how we wanted to do Salt Air, it was fun to really think about the kinds of things that the community has asked for and want to hear about. And a lot of people, I think they like to hear the backstory of like what fuels why the community does certain things, why Tom's created certain things. And so it's a lot of fun getting into the why and the kind of behind the scenes of a lot of things to do with salt and to talk about past things. We actually, I see that Nick Hughes joined, and I think we talked about Nick in episode 3. We mentioned Nick. So that has to happen. Nick's our community champion. So
Worth mentioning, I haven't hung out with Nick for too long.
it's pretty great. Nick and I hung out in Baltimore at SecOps days back in the day. No, that was fun. So let's see what else. We have actually, yeah, Nick was our community champion at SaltConf last year. So
And he's an award winner.
An
He's
award
winner. Yeah.
True.
And he's away from his desk.
I'm just going to say more and more things. So when he watches this later, he'll be like, what?
And he's fat.
That reminds me, Chunga, should we watch some old Salt Air episodes?
Yeah, that'd be great to just show you how much better it's going to be and what you can plan on.
Here we go. Tom's excited about this. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to be super fancy. All right, here's one of the earliest Salt Airs. This is episode 3.
To the third installment of the Salt Air series. Now, I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about this week. We're going to talk about some of the new advancements that we've had inside of Salt over the last couple of weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen everybody. But we have a lot of exciting things.
Tommy, you look so different.
We're going to be talking.
I'm digging the Simple Jack haircut, man.
10-6.
Pretty cool.
About how it works, why it works, what it does, and what you can use it.
Kind of.
Star.
Talk a little bit about
So Tom's got some
remote execution function
slides in
on all of
here.
the minions that match.
We also have some episodes where he does some live demos.
And pass in the same defaults, and these are the defaults that are coming with the file.
So they're really informative and they're useful. They are, though, about 30-ish minutes in the beginning. The earlier episodes are longer.
Configurable and templatizable.
They get shorter as we go.
That means that these can be safely run without us ever setting the vast
then we
majority of
have
these options. But there are
like this one. This is one of the ones Tom mentioned with when he just got a whole bunch done.
You know, I do have to tell you, my favorite episode is the one where Garrett is interrupted by his cat, though.
Oh, Garrett?
When Garrett gets interrupted, yeah.
That wasn't an interruption. We rehearsed that for days to get it just right.
Do you know how hard it is to train a cat?
people don't understand or they're not.
Oh, the cat wasn't the one trained. I was the one being trained.
Which episode was that? Now I want to watch Gareth and his cat.
I think it's like 40. It's up there.
What it is that they really wanted on top of Salt. And
Man, the audio in this episode is terrible. It's all echoey.
They're able to expose those interfaces in a really good and consistent way.
No, it's a good one though. I think that whiteboard's in my house now.
Foundationally is taking concepts.
No, that's the one that's in my house now.
More sophisticated open source.
Well, one of them. I may have stolen all the whiteboards from the office and given one to Tom. Given one to Tom.
I think it was,
gave Tom his old whiteboard.
Yeah.
I think it was 44 is the one you're looking for.
Thank you, Gareth.
I'm pretty sure based on the title.
The intro music is fantastic.
Another episode.
9 minutes. We're watching the premiere of Salt Air. Excited.
Is that what my voice sounds like?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Doesn't
man,
everyone hate the sound of their own voice? I know I do every time I hear it.
Sage, I love the sound of your voice.
Oh, God. Thank you. That's kind of you.
That's not really like a feasible.
I wish I just had memorized where the cat interrupts because it's pretty
representation of the event bus.
But it's pretty
some
good.
valid approaches that you could take would be.
See, there's Gareth up in the
Hey,
corner.
Gareth, do you remember how many of these episodes you've actually done? You've done a couple of them, haven't you?
I think I did two.
Interaction.
Okay.
Just two. We should make you do 20.
I'm just gonna mute this while I look for the cat.
I think
Priorities.
it's just audio of the cat. I
Oh,
don't think you can actually see it because I think I'm standing up.
I was wondering
You know,
how the
while-
cat gets in.
You know, while Janae's looking, what
So we have access to.
do you? I would point to David and Garrett and Sage, even Tom. Do you guys have any advice for Richard as he's been working on Salt for 2 days? Can you give him any advice right off the top of your head as he starts his journey into Salt Open?
Such a broad.
Well, I
would
guess
say-
go ahead.
Go ahead, Sage.
I was going to say, I was just going to ask a question. I mean, is there something that brought you here? Because that would probably lead us down a different path.
Okay. Basically, I have a requirement which is deployment over different clouds, and my approach is initially deploying locally. So, kind of have one computer behind me. This is my new house, so sorry for this confusion. I moved it just 1 month, so there are boxes all over the place. You cannot see, but there are lots of boxes over there.
I had no idea.
I have one old server behind of me. I have a new laptop here, which is far more powerful than that old server. And I have several other machines, and so if I sum everything, it should be kind of a more than 128 gig of memory. So I can deploy several virtual machines on all this kind of a software, kind of a hardware. And so my intent is initially all these machines, and then from a master, access newbie on all these machines, and deploy virtual machines on all these machines, or eventually LXD. So I'm still trying. Possibly, I will be using only libvirt really. Why? Because the next step would be the deployment onto the cloud. So as I said initially, I was trying Terraform, but Terraform don't really scale from the developer perspective. Certain really simple things became too complicated, too difficult. So and then the idea is, okay, so I have a description about the topology. So the topology is not anything static, it is dynamic, okay? So new customers are arriving every day, and then new customers, they need more clusters. And so we have to have the flexibility of specifying a new cluster for a new customer, for example, or one customer may have several clusters, and a given cluster may have one, or it may have a Kubernetes implementation. It would be a cluster and sub-cluster in this case, okay? And then I need this kind of a flexibility, and then I need to specify all this flexibility in basically YAML files. And then I needed the flexibility of having a piece of software which takes these YAML files and then performs the deployment dynamically. So in 2 days, I learned that I need to use grains. And then I started to play with that, to do some proof of concept using that. And I'm happy with that. So I think it is an easy approach. It is easy to organize the software. It's easy to organize the layers. It's easy to organize the software. Initially, I'm only focusing on libvirt, but later I'll be trying other clouds, probably DigitalOcean initially, and then later Azure maybe, and the other clouds later. So I have a lot to learn, really. So it's, you guys know better than me that Salt is big. There are lots of things. So I'm lost in the middle of this huge code base. And any hints, any directions you guys could provide me, it would be really useful to to make my time more efficient, to focus on what I really need, and then later we'll be covering more and more aspects. But so initially, if you guys can provide me, okay, this is the path you have to go, you have to follow. Wow, this would be really useful.
Yeah, Gareth, David, do you guys have?
I was just going
Anywhere
to
we
echo
start?
like the statement you just said was like salt is big. So there's a lot to
Yeah.
learn there. So I would say like don't get try not to get frustrated if something's not working, because it's big, it's powerful, but it's also it can get very complicated very quickly. And the other piece of advice I would say is don't overuse Jinja. Jinja is not a programming language. They'll try and make it out to be one.
I would say you joined at a good time because we've been putting a lot of focus on how to really cater to beginners. And I think Sage actually just posted. Sage, you want to speak to your link you posted?
Yeah, this is a tutorial that's Salt in 10 minutes. This is a really good, I don't know if you've seen this or not. It's just a good one to start with and kind of gives you a good run through. There's some others out there as well. So we usually, this might be a little too basic, but I think that it's a good one to run through. It gives you some ideas if you haven't been through it.
And that link is in the chat, right, Sage?
Yeah,
it is. It's in the chat.
Yeah, like I said, thank you. So, so regarding Jinja, I really don't like this kind of template engines. I really don't like that. Okay, I'm biased. I admit, but I really don't like. I really prefer a programming language, just a regular programming language, and then I would be coding myself how to process the topology. So the topology is something I'm still designing, how to organize the information. And so basically I need to process the YAML files and then find information about, okay, which network is I need, all the parameters for the networks, all parameters for bridges, and which product I will be deploying. Is it Cubic or is it another Kubernetes implementation? Okay, and so on. Okay, so the idea is really programming on top of that, and then perform the deployment. But it's still nebulous to me how this would really work. Because as far as I understand, there is an API, so I can just create a Python program which calls the API, okay, and then do whatever is necessary to be done. This is one possibility. However, Salt is also able to process SLS files, and so there is a workflow involved. So there's a lot of intelligence, and then it's not clear to me at this point how to balance the logic I need to create and the features available in the product itself that I could be leveraging from that. So, for example, would it be possible to take a YAML file and then create SLS files and then do a second step using that? Does it make sense? For example, okay, I have one way to describe the topology, and then I create files for Salt, and then Salt does its job after that. So the existing product, the existing Salt does whatever is coded in SLS files. This is one approach. Another approach is, okay, let's forget these SLS files and let's do things. So I create a Python program and then I have inputs, and then the output is basically calling the API and then performing the deployment. So that to be divided in several steps. So
Sure. Yeah. It kind of depends on what you're after, because it'll do both, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, okay, so in only 2 or 3 days, it's not really possible to have a clear picture about that. But the way I see that is, okay, if I have a generic deployment, the deployment can be using libvirt initially, or this deployment can be on the cloud. So if I'm using libvirt, I have to do steps that I don't need to do when I'm deploying onto the cloud. For example, if I'm using libvirt, I have let's say a brand new machine, and then I need to create a bridge. I need to create a network interface. I need to create a bridge, and under this bridge, then so basically I have to say, okay, libvirt this network. Okay, this is a bridge, or this is a route. This is a network. This routing network connects to a bridge. So I need to create a bridge first. Then I have to connect the routing network to the bridge. Then I have the necessary network inside libvirt. Okay. Then after that, I have to create the volumes. So a volume will have a certain image, and then I have to deploy those volumes. I have to deploy those volumes, and then I have to create virtual machines. These steps are different.
Hey, Richard, can I hop in here really quick?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Richard, your audio is super. It's really garbled. So I hope Sage and Gareth and David, you're actually getting that. But in the event that they're not, you can always go to the Slack community channel. Are you aware of our Slack channel where you can hop on and get all the help you need?
Yeah, yes. I'm using the IRC channel. So I was visiting these and then asked a couple of questions there.
Yeah, always go there or shoot us an email, or, there's always a multitude of places where you can find answers to this stuff for sure. And we're extremely glad you're here. I'm sorry that your audio's garbled, man.
Yeah, well, did anyone have an initial response to kind of what he was saying? Because we're going to do the viewing in a second, and I don't want to miss what Richard was talking about for sure. Sage or Gareth or David, did you have any thoughts on that before we move along?
I don't have any initial thoughts. I mean, there's a lot there to kind of think about. I think probably best for Richard just to kind of explain it out, so we could see it in either the IRC channel. If you want to shoot one of us an email, just kind of detail what you're doing, and we can possibly offer some advice, kind of more asynchronously than over Zoom here. I think that might be a better approach.
Yeah. I apologize for using this opportunity to
don't
to
apologize.
Oh no, that's what this is
to
for,
share so
man.
many questions.
No, that's why we're here.
We love questions.
Absolutely, yeah, you're in the right place for that.
Yeah, David.
I am in this initial step of understanding the technology and the designing the overall architecture. So I have this kind of doubts about what I should do one way, or what should I
posted
do another way.
Links. Yeah. Richard, I posted 2 links in the chat. And this is how we used to build before we started using GitLab's CI/CD. We had this, they're both open source, so do with them what you will. One was AutoPack, which start off automatic packaging, essentially. And then the SaltPack Py3 is for Python 3. And what AutoPack would do is basically go in, check out the current version of Salt, nightly build, for example, and it would get that, adjust it, it would modify the what SaltPack 3 needs for building, Ubuntu 16.04, 18.04, Debian 9, Debian 10, Debian 20, Red Hat 7 and 8. It would go out, it would create those machines in the cloud on AWS, where we already had set images that we personally had, because on AWS, you know, an image can come and go. So we created our own images as our baseline, so that they wouldn't get the rug pulled out from underneath our feet, as happened previously. And it goes, populates those, puts out the current salt, builds it, packages all the dependencies, and then using orchestration to do this, it then brings it back with the build and then deletes the nodes that it created out in the cloud. So that would be a good place to start walking through and understanding the possibilities. It's not as clean as I'd like, because like in all things, you never get a chance to clean up and make it perfectly superb. But, you know, you could endlessly polish that table till it's mirror finished, and then you'd still see a flaw. So it's a bit crude in places that could be deduped, but it would give you an idea of how you could go out and, based on your criteria, populate nodes in the cloud and have them perform some function, retrieve that information, and then tear them down. So it's a good place using cloud maps and stuff for all the various places, and using the appropriate, how should I put it, keys, which are pulled out of a vault, HashiCorp's vault. And of course, everybody would have their own keys there. So we're populating them with the appropriate keys for that environment. As everybody has to keep their secrets, because if you're not careful, those, what is it, Bitcoin miners will take over your machine before you know it.
Yeah, David, thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is really great stuff. Most of the presentations I saw is involving static environments, so people deploying or configuring their laptops or things like that. So it's really great because you have something which is dynamic in this case. So so
I'm glad also
we could do a nightly build, but just basically taking, you know, bleeding edge and a tag, depending, and you'd work accordingly.
We're also developing a user guide, and I gave you a link to the repo that then there's a link in there to the Sphinx documentation that we're building currently. And this is ever fresh. We just started this last week, but this is also going to go a little deeper than that 10-minute guide that'll kind of walk you through some other things too.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we like to say that, you know, Salt Project is one of the largest, friendliest open source projects in the world. And this is why, because you can hop in a virtual meetup and we got you. So I think it's great. And yeah, absolutely, Richard, reach out to any of us anytime and we'll be happy to help. We are going to jump over and just peek. We're not going to watch the whole video, but I will give you the link to watch it. And then we're going to publish it tomorrow. But we're just going to peek at the intro that Chunga put together. So yay, Chunga, thank you. And then we will go to the end so that you can watch how me and Tom just totally butcher the ending. And Chunga's like, guys, but we try to be cool. We can't all be Chunga. But anyway, so let's take a look at it. So true. All right, let's see here. Pop over here. Okay, so here it is. Turn it up. Let's start this over because it's pretty cool music. Right?
Welcome to the brand new Salt Air. We are so excited about this. We are rebooting and updating this YouTube series. We are excited about expanding your knowledge of salt and welcoming new and old friends into the Salt Open community. We have a fantastic community in Salt Project, and we're very excited to reach you even more through Salt Air. I'm Janae Andrus, Salt Project Community Manager, and I'm here with Tom Hatch, the one and only creator of Salt. Hey, Tom.
How's it going?
Great. Okay, so unfortunately, thanks to the pandemic, we're kicking off Salt Air with Zoom. So we're not together in the same room, whiteboarding stuff or doing whatever we do, which is extra unfortunate because All right. This was so much fun. And I'm really excited about future Salt Air episodes.
Here's the end.
We'll talk about the growth. We'll talk about all things salt. And we can't wait. So thanks guys for joining us. A new episode of Salt Air drops next week. Hit the subscribe button. Don't miss it out. Don't miss it out. Don't miss it. That would be a bummer. And maybe you'll hear me mess up more lines in the next episode. It'll be fantastic. So subscribe, give us a thumbs up. What was that, Tom?
I'm sure we'll mess up many lines. I'll interrupt you at the wrong times. It's a lot harder to edit when there's video.
I know. We're going to make this really tough. It's going to be awesome. No, I can't wait. And we're going to have so many mistakes. We'll have a whole bloopers episode just within a month. It'll be fantastic. All right. Thanks, guys. Subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We'll see you on the next one.
Here we go. And that is the new Salt Air. We're excited.
Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends. Anyway, so you guys got to see that first. Yeah, that was fun. So we've got a bunch of them ready, and we're just really excited about launching this, because this is something that, you know, as Gareth very well knows, as Tom very well knows, as a lot of you guys really well know, we've had Salt Air for a while, and it's taken a lot of different forms. And so we're excited for this newest incarnation of Salt Air, but we've just totally relaunched and refreshed it. And we're excited to have guests come on. I mean, Richard, maybe in a year, we'll have you come on and tell us about your year with salt, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
yeah, we're excited. So be sure to check it out. I will share, well, it's just on our YouTube channel. So I'll go ahead and post a link in the chat if you guys want to go watch the whole thing. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for our launch party. We just wanted to kind of get together and be excited about that. And we're so glad Richard could join us so we could talk to him more about salt, and Charles, and I know another David was here earlier, and we just had some people pop in and out. So thanks everyone for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye. Bye, guys.